Hi, I'm Sanika, and I would like to tell you about my project. My project title is, Can I Extend and Develop My Creative Writing Skills by Writing the First Chapter of a Mystery Novel? So the project was to write the opening chapter of a mystery novel through the victim sister's perspective. So why this project? I've always liked creative writing and particularly enjoyed writing horror stories, so my English teacher recommended that I do a project involving creative writing. I was thinking of writing a whole short story, or maybe more than just one chapter of a novel, but I realized the time constraints I had, and juggling this with schoolwork would have been quite difficult. So I chose to only write the opening chapter of a novel. This chapter was initially going to be from a horror novel, but I had a lack of inspiration when it came to coming up with plot ideas, hence my decision to switch to the mystery genre. The goal for my project was to refine my creative writing skills, which could then be applied in my English exams, through writing the first chapter of a novel, which I could then potentially continue to finish. Now I'll tell you about the research I did for my project. First, I sent 5 questions to English teachers, including what they think makes a good book and their top 3 tips for creative writing. Then, I sent 6 completely different questions to an author, Jonathan Broughton, including how he gets over writer's block. His response was very helpful when I experienced writer's block myself, as he said that you must remember your initial inspiration for your story, since this allows you to refocus on what you wanted to say or where you wanted to go with your story before you began. I also tried to follow a strict writing schedule, as Mr. Broughton suggested, but I found it a challenge because I had a lot of other schoolwork to juggle at the same time. So I wrote whenever I had a free study period or at the weekend. And this is the project timeline I drew up. I also made a bibliography of all the mystery novels I had read, and I really liked the viewpoint of The Victim's Sister and Sister Missing by Sophie Mackenzie. So I considered using that in my chapter when I was drafting my plot synopsis. I also thought about using multiple narrators throughout the novel because I thought it would be interesting to have different perspectives within it. However, I ended up using the viewpoint of the victim's sister because of the close relationship she would have with the victim. I also followed an Instagram account for writers for inspiration from writing prompts they posted and for top tips for writing. When I was lost for plot ideas, I browsed on Pinterest for pictures that could prompt me and found this image. This, combined with a few news articles and websites I found on different mysterious murders that have actually been committed in the past, gave me the idea to make my murder mystery about a serial killer. Here is the character profile and plot synopsis I drew up. I didn't completely stick to my original character profile or my original plot synopsis, making a few changes here and there because I thought of better ideas. For example, I decided to begin the chapter with a conversation between the main character and her father about her sister's whereabouts, instead of beginning it with the serial killer's confession. This is because I felt it worked better, allowing the reader to dive straight into the action with a tense, mysterious atmosphere being present from the beginning. I then started writing my first draft of the opening chapter, but after experiencing writer's block, I found it didn't flow very well. So I started writing another version of the chapter, and my supervisor and I both preferred this version much more, so I continued with it. The outcome of my project was the first draft of my chapter, which was reviewed by my dad, my supervisor, and Mr. Broughton. The feedback helped in improving my chapter through grammatical corrections and providing better ways of building tension and suspense through its structure. I'm now going to read you an extract from my chapter. Something was wrong. She could sense it. Violet? No reply. Charlotte had sent 3 texts to Violet, asking about her whereabouts, and she had had no response yet. Charlotte walked downstairs and asked, "Dad, did Violet leave early for school?" Her dad looked up from his newspaper and raised an eyebrow. "No, she didn't come home last night. I thought she was staying over at her friend's. I'll give her a ring." "Oh, okay." Charlotte fiddled with the hem of her shirt as knots tightened in her stomach. She felt sick. Maybe because the last time she had a long conversation with her, a few days before, Violet told her that she had lied about having great friends, and that she was actually struggling to fit in at the new school. This was slightly shocking for Charlotte, because her older sister had always been seen as a social butterfly of the family, bold and charismatic, always being invited to different events, always open to meeting new people. Maybe Violet had made some friends since then, probably at that Halloween party she went to last week. However, Violet hated sleepovers, and even if she did sleep over at her supposed friend's house, why would she not text Charlotte that she wouldn't be coming home last night? They'd always had a close relationship, so even if her phone died, she would have called her from her friend's phone. Something was off. One rule Violet had was that she would always text or call if she'd been held up somewhere. She never texted, she never called. Violet didn't come home. Now I would like to tell you about the lessons I learned over the course of this project. I learned that for any project, planning is essential and time management is also very important. So overall, I think that my project went well because I managed to complete everything on time. But perhaps if I were to do it again, I would try to be stricter with my timeline and writing schedule, so it would be easier to manage and I wouldn't be as worried about deadlines and I wouldn't have to rush to complete things. Also, what really helped with my project was getting advice and feedback from an author because he had first-hand experience with writing novels. It was good to have someone in my class read the final draft of my opening chapter too, as they were in my target audience. So, I learned that getting different perspectives can be really eye-opening, and it helped me see where I had room for improvement if I were to continue with my creative writing. I believe these skills will be useful in the future. Now I would like to share my views on how this project might affect my future. I love creative writing because it gives me the opportunity to express myself with artistic license, but it is very different to what I would like to continue doing in my future education, which is science and maths. However, I would still like to continue with creative writing as a hobby because it gives me an imaginative outlet. Also, I think creative writing will be very helpful in the scientific field in many ways, such as being able to express complex scientific ideas and communicating effectively with my target audience, for example, when I'll be writing articles, researching new and existing ideas and expanding on them in depth, and problem solving. Overall, I have really enjoyed doing this project because it has allowed me to explore my interest in creative writing and also gain an insight into its importance in my career choice of being a scientist. Thank you for listening.